Hello and welcome to another episode of My Backstage Pass. This is your host, Billy Hubbard, and I'm here with my lovely wife, Sarah. She's sitting in for Lee Zimmerman today. We're excited to have John Smith Presley back for a part 2 episode. And tonight he's here with his good friend and bandmate, sidekick, who happens to be an attorney, Mr. Tony Petty. After they played a great show last night at the station, 2 sold-out shows, actually, over the weekend. And we just wanted to have a little update, so it's really cool. We're hanging out here together tonight. Guys, how'd you like last night? That's the first time we saw you live. I mean, it was pretty incredible.
It's the first time we've seen ourselves live. It was amazing.
We had a great time, and thanks for having us, Billy.
Oh, man, you guys.
And Sarah, thank you so much.
It was a lot of fun.
Incredible place. Oh, my God. It's magical.
It's been a great weekend.
Well, the people at the state, we talk about it on here on other episodes, but people don't realize that, most people think about in Nashville, you have the Broadway and the City Lights. But if you can find a place in your town that has a listening room out in the country, man, it's just an incredible experience. It's so much better than, that kind of atmosphere. I mean, I love Nashville, but I'm just saying Broadway has turned into craziness. But anyway, apart from that, you guys, it was a great show you did. And you did a lot of your original music, which was I knew you did some original songs, but man, you had some great stuff. How long have you been writing?
Well, thank you. Well, my first song I wrote when I was like 7, and my second song I was like 9, and then my third song was 11 on the Louisiana Hayride.
Oh,
so,
man. It goes way back.
I got 4 songs in there before I turned 12.
Wow, man. 12.
Good job.
Well, you should hear them. I wouldn't say.
We did
you
hear.
should just hear them.
We did hear a couple, and they were really good.
And you had one last night. I remember you said you wrote it when I think you performed it that you were 12. I forgot the name of the song.
One of them you said you were 6.
An Answer to My Why was the one that I did on the Louisiana Hayride.
Oh, yeah.
And then I got to write that with a guy named David Rowe.
Oh, right. Yeah. I think it seemed like I've heard of him. He was you moved to Nashville when you were how old?
Well, I was turning 19, and the reason that I can remember is because the minute I left California from the Lawrence Welk Show and moved to Nashville, the drinking age changed immediately to 21. So, yeah, I mean, I got to miss out on everything.
I remember I got under that curtain. I was born just enough. I got under that, so cool. Well, and Tony, you were. I mean, this was where are you from originally?
Well, I grew up in El Paso. Lived in Jersey for a while, St. Louis, Missouri, and finally, I graduated from El Paso. Once I graduated, I joined the Army. I was in the Army for a while. I just moved around.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
I saw jumping out of airplanes. That's
Jumping out
He's crazy. Is what that means.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. No,
on purpose.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Well, I was kind of pushed out, but
Yeah, I would think so.
Just like the Toby Keith thing, a boot in your, over there. Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
man, I love 2 things I love about you is lead guitar. I love a good guitar player, and you're tearing it up the last couple of nights, and the fact that you jump out of airplanes makes it even more cool. But how
that'd be a show. Jump out of an airplane while playing guitar.
That would be cool. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be something?
Well, how did you end up?
That'd be a show.
How did you and John come together? I know we had another bandmate here who had to leave. Burge,
Virgil Eiler,
who's also an attorney, and he that's where we build the show as John Smith Presley and the with the little A, so laws. And some people ask me questions. I said, "What is that, man?" Nobody's ever. I don't think anybody ever.
Because they're attorneys. You know. Well, I try to surround myself with attorneys just in case.
Well, I noticed that.
You get that case? Yeah,
I thought
Gotcha.
that's what I said last night. I said it's like the Secret Service. You got the president, and he's surrounded by attorneys. That's pretty cool, though. Yeah.
But they're helping you establish what you need to establish to guarantee, determine and prove exactly who you are.
But first, did you need him as a guitar player or an attorney?
That's a really good question.
Well, we were
That
just friends. We met about 10 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
A little town called Black Canyon City, where
Arizona.
Arizona, where I was staying, just north of Phoenix, between Phoenix and Flagstaff.
And just to brag on you for a minute, Tony, you were the commander of the post, correct, in Black Canyon City.
Yeah, there's a American Legion post and a VFW post there in Black Canyon City, and I'm currently the commander of the American Legion there.
Wow,
Interesting.
man.
That's really
That
cool.
is really good. That is cool.
And believe it or not, Virgil, who's our other guitar player, bass player, and so wonderful. Virgil was not only in the military, but he was also wasn't he a colonel?
He was a lieutenant colonel.
Lieutenant Colonel.
Yeah.
And then Virgil was also a commander at a post in another town in Arizona, but none of us knew each other.
Wow.
It was insane. So I'm in a little town called Dewey Humboldt. And Dewey Humboldt's in Arizona. It's kind of between Flagstaff and Scottsdale. More on the Flagstaff side than the Scottsdale,
Yeah, is that the northern part?
It's kind of in the middle, but going north,
Oh,
And I go to a little American Legion Hall, and I get up and sing a couple songs because I got a little open mic night. And this gentleman comes over and he goes, "Hey, my name's Virgil, and I'd like to meet you." So of course I throw the story out there. Next thing I know, he goes, "Well, I play a little guitar too." Well, little did I know
He has a little guitar, yeah.
not little of guitar he played, but so amazing guitar.
Absolutely.
I discovered that over the weekend, yeah.
And then at the same time with Tony, I'm in Black Canyon City at an American Legion VFW hall where he's the colonel, and we did a little show. And the next thing I know, I'm like, then how come we don't have a group or a band or something?
Let's get it together.
And Virgil said, "Well, because we don't have any money to make a band or something." And then next thing you know, Tony goes, "Well, I don't have any money either, but I'm in the band."
Oh, that's awesome.
So there we are. Yeah.
Wow, man.
That's a great T-shirt. I don't have any money, but I'm in the band.
Exactly.
That's a great T-shirt.
Well, and you guys, as far as attorney privilege, do you have some benefits besides guitars?
Yes. Nothing leaves the table.
Oh.
No, you mean benefit like
Wait,
what?
what do you mean about?
Do you have any lawyer benefits? Do you get any kind of advice from these guys? They tell you.
Heck yeah.
We give them a discount.
Actually, it's not really advice. It's more like orders.
Oh, oh yeah. Well, plus these military guys, I'd be keep.
Oh yeah.
Keep you.
And when you got one of them that was a colonel, or lieutenant colonel, even I think me and Tony both listened a couple of times.
I think it's very impressive that you have such a team that does surround you, that are really working on your benefit for your behalf to really establish who you say you are with the proof that you have. It's very impressive how these men have military or whatever, but have guarded you, and then we have to add Rich to it.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, there's just a couple of it's quite a big team.
It
is a huge team that's coming together, and I mean, maybe you could have dreamed that big, maybe you couldn't have, but this is going to be a legal thing, and that's what we have really understood, and how much we're excited about it for you.
Yeah.
And I would have never imagined that at my age now, and of course it's I'm like 30, but anyway, I would have never imagined that a team of these incredible people or guys would come together. I mean, we have Rick Parrish, who's incredible with Capstone Films and things like that. We have Virgil Eiler, he's an attorney. We have Tony Petty. We have Rich Carlberg, who wrote my first book called "Let the Boy Sing,"
and he's about to republish that. Right?
It's been republished now.
Oh, really? Okay.
We have a new cover.
We have to know where we can find that.
Yeah, you can find that at our website. It's called lettheboysing.co.
Yeah.
Now, not .com.
Oh, I got
I like to say .co because if you put it in .com, well, it'll still work, but we got the CO. And then I'm thinking to myself, so who is the CO?
Yeah, I'm not sure it'll go there or not.
It's probably our wives. Yes.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
a
I saw
very,
that.
very good answer.
Well, so and I was telling some folks at the show. I mean, I know, the first episode we recorded with you was when Verge called me in August of this year, 2024, and he told. Well, no, I'm sorry. He first emailed me, and as I read it, the further I read it, the crazier it got. I started laughing. Actually, I kept going down. I thought, I said, "What is he making a joke or something?" And then he said, "I know this is hard to believe, but give me a call." And so,
exactly.
So I went out and called him, and and so he kind of filled me in, and that's a lot of that's on the first episode explaining that. But actually, I didn't know until this at the show this past weekend is that he had the credibility of both you guys. I didn't really hadn't met Verge. Well, I met Verge. I hadn't met Tony, but the fact, and then Verge was telling me about the law firm, his brother, I think that he was partners with, had argued a case with the Supreme Court, and when
they did, and they won.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my gosh, how many times does that happen?
I know, yeah, and so the credibility, I think, to me, in my mind, I'm just saying, wow, both you guys are very serious. You're not, like Better Call Saul or
exactly. Yeah. Well, what's really amazing too is that I sit here today thinking to myself, I was so blessed through life, and I had so many opportunities, and so many things happened, and so many things became such wonderful moments in my life. And now I even have more blessed and more moments.
Yeah, man. I mean, that is. I mean, a lot of artists would love to have the support. So I'm really.
That's how you know it's time.
Exactly.
Yeah,
because it all came together. You weren't out hunting. You were just being you, doing your thing.
It's like the
I just see a nucleus come together.
Yeah, you got some. It's like the eagles. They say the eagle takes and puts thorns in the nest to get the babies out there to fly, so they can have some more babies, I guess. But
we wanted to use that name for the band, but these other guys had it.
Oh, I know, yeah.
So they were like, "Oh, you can't use that one."
Yeah. Well, back up. I was going to try to remember. I don't remember. Of course, it's been a couple months, but I know the numbers on the podcast, and I've gotten some comments and questions, but.
Are the good numbers?
Yeah. This is the way podcasts work. Anybody out there in the world of podcasts know. I mean, we were in the the top 50%, but it's hard to get an episode that doesn't plateau. And the first episode, if no one's heard that, that was in August 26th published, so you can go back and listen. But by the time you hear that, it'll be exceeding 100,000. No doubt. And so, so we just wanted to do a little follow up with, because of the questions, and to be honest, I can't remember all the questions, but I got a few of them here. And some of them were, that we talked about, like who the lawyers, people like when you say, oh yeah, this lawyer did that. Well, the lawyers actually have names and they're real lawyers,
Exactly.
They're real people.
They're real people. They're real
Whether you like them or not.
Yeah.
Well, they're very nice.
Well, some of the questions we had someone that was saying, well, I'm just trying to remember now. I'm just going to throw some things at you just because of all the last couple months. But like someone said, well, why the birth certificate that you have is, what did they say, 1980 something? And they said, do you have the original, or how does that work? Can you get the original?
I was actually born in 1961, and evidently in 1961, back in those days, it was a little bit different, when a child was adopted. So once I was adopted and shortly in 1961, I think, Tony, it's the word called sealed or seal.
The records are sealed.
The records are sealed, as they say. And so it took we had an investigator that we met a few years ago. Well, actually, he's been now with us for, and he's on our board. He's been with us now for almost 17 years. And I met him through a beautiful, wonderful lady Her name is Susan Safford, and Susan Safford was the first Vanna White. If you remember the flip those letters, guy or girl, And so meeting her, and she's like, John, if you want to prove who you are, you need to talk to this gentleman because he is the investigator of the stars in California. He's I Spy International. He's the moment, and he will find out either you're real or you're not. Well, he found out that, it's a real thing.
Who?
His name's Paul Cohen.
How long ago did that start?
That was the first time we spoke with Paul Cohen was almost 17 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then he came on board.
So you do know it's time
13
now
and a
that
half
all these
years.
people have pulled together.
Yeah.
Why,
13 and a half years ago.
now, why would it take so long? I mean,
Well, we had so much information and data and so on and so forth. And back in the day, even 13 years ago, DNA was something that no one really gets or proves or has. I mean, it was a little more skeptical than it is today. Today, DNA is factual, is perfect, it's like right on.
Right.
And over the 13-year course of his investigative work and so on and so forth, he, and bless him, I'm telling you right now, he's fabulous person.
oh,
He obtained the DNA. He made those things happen. And now here we are.
so he's a real guy too. That's just something else people,
Yeah,
that's what I'm
he's
saying.
really human.
So had some people say, "Oh, who are these?" Because they say you can make up anybody's name. So that's cool. We got the names of your lawyers and which are your bandmates and the investigator. So
Elvis had people surrounding him that they put in place.
Right.
And so I have to believe now, and even later in my life now, that I have people surrounding me that are putting the things in place.
yeah, and just for people maybe like me that can't remember all the details on the guy named HT, that he was kind of seemed like, if I remember right, he was protecting you or something. And now where did he come from, and how did he?
Well, years and years and years ago, of course, for those who may not know a little bit of the story, maybe I can just throw it out there really quickly. But so my adopted father was Gladys Love Smith Presley, Elvis's mother. Gladys Love Smith Presley's brother was my adopted father. And he was from a little town called San Augustine, Texas, which is located, down in Texas. And they have this lake called Sam Rayburn Lake. And he's out fishing because he was a fisherman and hunter, back in the day. And he's fishing with his buddy, Don Baker. And he and Don Baker are talking a little bit about my career because I'd gone on the Lawrence Welk show at age 15. I walked on stage at the Hearst Coliseum in Shreveport, Louisiana, and I sang a song, which was a big accident because I'd gone from the restroom to the stage accidentally because I came out in the wrong spot. Now, later maybe we'll even talk about the restroom stuff because I have a lot of great moments happening in the restroom. I'll tell you that right now. But so here we are, things are going along, and it's time for me to leave the Welk show and go to Nashville. So at age 19, I go to Nashville. So this fishing guide in a boat with my adopted father are discussing my career. And he turns and says, the fishing guy, well, you know some guys in Nashville. You went to school with them. You need to call these guys.
So that's the HT.
Yeah. So you need to call HT. And
What's HT's last name? Has he got does he just go by HT, or has he got a?
Can we edit stuff if we mess up? No, I'm kidding. But
If you can't say it,
Did he say HT or ID?
well, ID was my adopted father.
Right. I'm sorry, it confused me a little bit.
HT became my manager.
Right, but were they the two talking about your career? I'm confused on who was talking.
No, my adopted father, ID, was talking with Don Baker, who was the fishing.
Okay.
Yeah,
so I
sorry, I missed it too.
had to miss that.
And he said, we know some guys in Nashville. And of course, my adopted father at that point, I think, was like, well, who the heck do we know, And one thing leads to another, and then I get introduced, to these gentlemen in Nashville that were amazing. Maybe we probably won't say the name of the label, but they were one of the strongest labels in Nashville as an independent label ever in the history of Nashville.
Yeah, actually. I know who they are. Yeah, actually, so. I agree.
And one thing leads to another, and they invite me to come and sing, and I sing some songs, I record some music, and actually my first record, a little song called California Calling, went on the Billboard charts and was actually promoted by a gentleman named Pete Bennett, who actually promoted the first time Billboard chart song of Suspicious Minds for Elvis.
Okay.
So these gentlemen, I come to find out later in life that there was a connection even from the start.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's interesting. So now, and the guy the investigator on the DNA, I mean, in the court system, I was going to ask Tony, someone said, one comment was, anybody can get DNA, which I don't even know what that comment means. But, I mean, I guess if you're going to go to court, this guy was certified as to testify.
Forensic
Well,
science.
as a forensic scientist, to be able to
Forensic scientist,
present
forensic engineer.
findings in
So just
court.
anybody can't just come to court and I
And
guess
say it's real. Yeah.
Well, they can, but they're
don't
going to
have
get torn apart if they're lying. But
So there's no way to manipulate DNA.
well, it's not 100% foolproof, but it is so close that most courts will rely on that evidence, as opposed to what is it? The lie detector test.
Right.
Wait, yeah, you can't even take that into court anymore.
But then
Really?
they take the other evidence, as Tony can probably tell you, they take the other established evidence, attach that to a DNA, and then you usually, and I'm guessing I'm not an attorney, that's why I have a whole bunch of them in my band, but then they attach all that evidence, and then all of a sudden the courts or the judge says, okay, looks
We need to
pretty
look
good
at
to
this.
me.
Yeah.
It
Well,
gets
I mean, I know
evaluated.
I saw some evidence, and I don't know if we can talk about it, but I saw some evidence while everybody's been together this weekend that you can't,
photographs and stuff.
Maybe
photographs
dispute.
and different
Who's
things,
sharing
and you just can't argue about it. I mean, you just kind of, all you can do is just look at it and go, oh my gosh,
It is what it is.
it is what it is, but you can't unsee it.
Right. That's exactly.
I mean, you just can't. Like today, even being in the restaurant and how much fun that was, because those little old
amazing.
ladies, oh my gosh, you made their
made their
world.
day.
Well, I hope they're listening because they were so adorable.
Oh, they're just so sweet. Because I'm like, hey, this is Elvis's son, and they're like,
Texas
what?
Roadhouse.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Sarah tells the story.
Texas
He was-
Roadhouse right there in
Well, I
what
had-
town's it in? Where we're at?
Alcoa, Tennessee.
Yeah.
But what's funny was I had to scoot over because Billy had to get out.
Right.
And so I had to scoot over into their table. I'm like, hey, ladies, how you doing? Sorry, I have to invade your spot just a minute, but, I'm letting him out and whatever. And so I slid off, and he came back and had to slide back over. I'm like, oh, hey, how y'all doing again? Sorry, I didn't mean to crash your party again, but hey, guess what?
They were so sweet.
I said,
Oh my
you ever
gosh,
you ever heard of Elvis? And this lady was like, oh, I love Elvis. I loved Elvis. And I'm like, well, that's his son. And she was like, what? No, what? And the other lady said, make him take his hat off.
I think she even whispered to you.
I said,
He kind of looks like him.
I know she did. I said, no, I don't know if I make him do that because that guys just don't like to take their hats off, And
Well,
so
it was
I asked
a bad
you,
hair day.
Well, you were so sweet, and you just like, well, I hadn't fixed it yet.
But I was wearing a Billy Hubbard baseball cap.
Oh, absolutely.
think
But
that's-
she
I was
wanted
pretty
to
happy
see you
about
without
that.
the. She wasn't looking for
Still
your
looking
hair.
good.
She wanted to see if you looked like Elvis, and that's when she said, "He does look. He does look like Elvis." And the other lady says, "Can he sing?"
And Sarah said, let the boy sing.
I said, "Well, yeah. We'll just pull him up here. Hey, John, will you sing for these ladies?"
Yeah, that was kind of.
Which got an applause through Texas Roadhouse. It was awesome. They were like, "Oh." I've been getting text messages all afternoon.
Well, I must say, if anyone was here Sarah, you're acting like Lee Zimmerman grabbing these buttons over here.
I only did it because he told me
You're
to.
not fully trained on that board. I'm just kidding.
I thought it was on the Montel show for a moment.
Well, no, I was trying to remember stuff from the first episode and different questions people ask. And let's see, one of the things was, we touched on it about the legality about the sealing thing. And I guess, how does that work? Does the parent, if you adopt somebody, who decides to unseal it? Is that
Well, each jurisdiction is different, but the whole purpose of sealing the records is for privacy. You don't want the birth parents don't want everybody to know what they did, who they are. The whole reason they have their reasons for.
I can understand that. Yeah.
So they seal the records so it's not public information.
Yeah, and then to unseal them, and that is that what you guys are.
That's the whole
trying to
that's
unseal.
Well, what actually happened was through Paul's investigations and so on and so forth, Paul finds the young lady that was actually at the Texas Department of Human Resources at the time that my file was filed. So we obtained 2 letters. That one said the restricted closed file, and then one said the non-restricted closed file. So at that point, it was kind of game on. And of course, again, I'm not in that attorney mode, but I'm thinking game on means, well, maybe we'll find something out. Well, we won't say names because, when you name names, you might get yourself in a little box, or they may want their own privacy.
Yeah, we don't
but
want to do that.
this sweet, amazing young lady was there at the time of my birth file being filed, and she felt that the people involved were a little more over the top than the norm, and so she kind of made a little copy, and it was so great because at the same time when Paul did his investigation, she was the lady that he spoke to. And then shortly after that, she retired, not giving him the information at that first point. But at the second point, she then reached out and she sent us the file.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
And that's
Wow.
So bless her heart. Oh my gosh, she's like my bestest friend I've never met. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Of course, right.
So now is all the evidence, I know, and you just got the new site you mentioned, lettheboysing.co.
Right.
Do you have, does it have all that? Are you putting all the evidence, like the pictures
Yeah,
and things?
there's like some questions, there's evidence, there's the, you know what, heck fire, I think we even have my birth certificates on there. So,
Yeah. Okay.
Well, what was in her file?
well, back in the day in the 60s, evidently a mother and a father of a child, married or non-married, had to show proof of who they were from the hospital's point of view, for birth certificate's sake and whatnot. And in the file, there were some copies, and then there were actually some originals of some very profound documentation, which totally gave them, the proof that not that we needed, but that we wanted to have, just for closure of my own self, my own person. So there was a driver's license, there was a military card, there were different things like that pretty much gave me not only closure but confirmation.
Do you have pictures, photos of that, or do you have the originals?
We do. I have.
But they kept the cards and
I
the
have
different
both.
things. Oh, do you now?
So is there evidence that you're not able to post at this time on your site? I mean, there's some evidence of what I mean.
There's some that I don't know that they would post it due to privacies or moments, for just our own moment.
But there's some things that have to be legally cleaned up.
Right. But there are some.
What I understood,
You might go there just to look because it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
We did. It was cool.
Well, there's some things that just from talking to Verge, he had mentioned stuff that, maybe think there was more out there that everybody hadn't seen yet, Okay, here, and another question I just remembered that came off the web, from people listening to the podcast is someone, I don't know the guy's name, but he just like had all this stuff about the Elvis's timeline. It's like he must have knew where Elvis was every minute of the day. And he posted, he said, well, this can't be possible because he said Elvis in July of 1961 at this time was
at a wedding, supposedly.
Somewhere.
July 2nd, filming at a wedding. Filming a movie and such.
Yeah, and so...
well, the great thing is here's what kind of happened.
He said he didn't like to fly. That's what it was. He said he would always drive because he was afraid of flying. Right. I actually didn't know that. Well, I knew he had an airplane, private plane, but
and he didn't fly himself, but he did get on an airplane.
Yeah.
The really cool thing is that they're only, from what I'm being told, of course, back in that day, I was a little bit young, to figure out what's going on, who's talking about who. But November 14th, 15th, and 16th of 1960, Elvis, those are the only 3 dates that Elvis was unaccounted for. And when I mean unaccounted for, surrounded by his entourage or his people that, took care of him and he worked with. I came along on July 3rd of 1961. And prior to that, because a lot of people will say, well, on July 2nd of 1961, Elvis was at a wedding of one of his guys.
He was in a movie set, somebody said.
At a movie set, but there was also a wedding.
Or the 5th or 4th, I forgot.
But on July 3rd, that gentleman and Elvis were, from what I'm being told, were at my birth. There was a really sweetheart lady who was the nurse at the time, and I didn't know this till way later in my life, but she had taken a photograph because
I would have snuck one too.
It was Elvis.
You would have to.
Yeah, so that's what you were talking about earlier. Yeah,
her son was a priest, and several years back, even during the Paul Cohen moments of investigating stuff, this young man reached out to us.
Oh,
so we have those photos. We have those.
So okay, so those are probably the legal things that Verge couldn't show us.
Right.
Because he showed me a few, but he said
so I'm in trouble for talking about it.
No, he was just saying that there was more that he couldn't show or share because you all have got to get some things cleaned up shortly. From what he was saying, it was like next week or something.
Oh, I know. Oh, here's what the other one is. I just remember now, and I can't. There's so many I forgot. But one person said, I guess they saw a picture of you or something, and they said, wait a minute, that can't be that year because Elvis didn't have sideburns until a certain time in life. And
right.
To be honest,
so you can grow sideburns in a week.
Well, Elvis' sideburn, you could probably grow those in like an hour.
Oh, I think it was a picture of, and to be honest, I should know this because it's been like 2 months. I can't remember, but a picture of, him holding you maybe.
I was actually wrapped in a blanket.
And you still have that blanket. I think I remember.
I did see that. That was one of the pictures he showed was your blanket.
And
well, that's cool.
And Gladys was holding you?
No. Grandma had passed many years prior.
Oh, okay.
To even my birth.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Or even my conception. But,
okay.
There's a few pictures where I was wrapped in the blanket, and, the nurse held me, and my dad held me, and my mom held me.
Oh yeah, so that exact blanket is in the photo. We need to look at that. I have to go back and check it out, man. That's pretty cool.
Hold the photo up to the microphone.
Yeah.
Look at that, man. Yeah. Oh, well, that's pretty cool. Well, I'm just trying to go through a few questions. Let's see what else was. Let me look here. Everyone, these are things from the show last night. We had some people write down questions. Everyone knows where she was when Elvis died. Where were you?
on the date of his supposed death, I was at the Lawrence with the Lawrence Welk show, but I was coming back home. And not knowing, who I was. I was coming back home to Louisiana, but not
at this point now,
not
did
knowing
you
and realizing really, who I was, because I didn't find out till later in life. I was 27, but so I'm on an airplane coming back from the Lawrence Welk show where I performed, and of course they announced it over the intercom.
Oh, really? Yeah, kind of like
30,000.
And you didn't know that you were his son then?
No.
Oh, wow.
Well, everybody, it's kind of like when Kennedy was shot. I remember I was getting on the school bus and I felt sick as a little kid. I didn't know why. I just was sad.
I have to say I teared up, even though I didn't know who it was. That I was connected in that moment of a way.
I understand that. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, that's let's see. Here's I'll look another question. It said, "Is all the evidence you're the son of Elvis public yet?" I think I might have asked something like that earlier because
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that at least 80 to 90% of it is out there. And I guess the other percentage is if they don't want to believe that Elvis might have had another child besides the of course wonderful Lisa Marie, then hey, that's your choice, that's your moment. But I have to tell you, in my lifetime as an entertainer, which not even knowing most of it that I was connected in that way, I've had a lot of fun. So I'm going to guess that someone of his magnitude, probably had a little bit of fun too.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is one from last night too. I think someone has said, did Colonel Parker know about you?
And yes, as a matter of fact, I think last night at the show we showed a little photo there.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Verge showed me that picture yesterday.
Yeah, Colonel Parker holding us.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question. So I saw he also showed me a picture of you on Elvis's bus.
Yeah.
Did you ever, at some point in your life, even maybe after that, think, why was I on Elvis's bus?
Well, amazingly enough, my adopted parents were connected. Because first of all, they were family, and second of all, my adopted father sang in the Deep South Quartet, which later, became some quartets,
Sure.
of names for Elvis. So I was connected. I saw things. I was, privy to things. I was, at certain things, and so on and so forth. But the reality of this is, I'm believing in my heart, in my moment, that these people that have taken me, adopted me, and even from day one, when we were old enough to understand, they told us that we were adopted, which was fabulous,
very kind.
And so from that moment on, I just hung out and respected the most glorious moments that I had as a child.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, we all have odd family memories, and it's just because we're connected to the family.
Exactly.
I understand that.
Well, this is something I was wanting to ask Tony. Of course, being trained as you are, you hear a lot of stories, and you imagine that you kind of get pretty good gut feelings for truth. I mean, if you never met John before, I mean, I don't know, putting you on the spot here, but I mean,
beat him, yeah.
Would you feel confident you could win this case? If you had to prove based on what you've seen.
Well, that's a tricky question. Confident that I could win this case based on what I've seen. I have no doubt in my mind that John is legitimate. I've known him for quite a while. And he and I are friends, first of all. I've known him, like I said, for 10 years, and we play guitar, sing karaoke, and just get into trouble together. We're two friends. And
That's Southwest Airlines, by the way. Is that a commercial? I don't know.
so I'm not with him because of who he claims he is. I just like the guy. We're just buds.
Yeah.
But I believe him
Based on the evidence.
based on the evidence that I've seen and the people that I've talked to and everything that's gone into this. But at the same time, I know how difficult it is too. You're going up against people who are trying to protect their interests, and I can understand that.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be easy whether it's true or not. Like I say, I believe it is.
I guess,
but it is.
It's not
going to be easy.
I guess I meant your personal opinion based on, because I know what you mean. I guess you get a jury. I guess you never know what they're going to do, but
exactly
your personal experience. So I thought,
personally, I think if we could present the evidence like we have, like everything we have, and we have intelligent people evaluating all this with a judge, jury, I have no doubt that they would believe him and say that he is Elvis's son.
Well, that's cool, because that's really.
And you know what, Billy? What's really
you,
amazing,
and
if I can just throw something out here, what's really amazing is that, first of all, Tony, thank you so much for that. But secondly, you know what? Even if there's a doubt, I mean, even if, someone's like adamant and says, oh my goodness, Elvis only had one child. And of course he had one child, but he had more than one child. But the one child he had was amazing. The one child he had was special. The one child that he had, was incredible. But even with that said, if it's for lack of better words, a naysayer, is that how they say that? Like a naysayer or someone negative on that point, you know what? Then that's their personal opinion.
Right.
And we are all entitled to that opinion. My moment from my heart would be see the story, read the story.
Yeah. See
the man, understand the man and the story that the man is telling, and then make your own decision. Because that's why we're in America. Just make your own decision.
Yeah, and personally, I mean, everybody that knows me personally, that I'm very skeptical about anything. But Verge, of course, you have two great guys here that are very credible. So that, to me, if I was, I always think of,
I got a whole team of guys too, not just these two great ones. But they're great.
You're building this team. I heard
the rest of them
about
are
that.
Amazing. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I just want people to, to understand the best they can. Whether to everybody's going to. And
I think people should probably hear this coming from me too, Billy. Yeah. And that's this. You know what? Make a decision if you need to make a decision, or just go with the story, or don't go with the story. Yeah. Be negative against that, but let's all not really totally be negative. But let's just all hang out. Let's just all have fun. Let's just all say to ourselves, you know what? Good, bad story, indifferent story, crazy story, ridiculous story, or non-ridiculous, proven story, non-proven
very interesting story.
Yes, very interesting story. Yeah. But in result, you know what? Let's all just love each other.
Well, yeah.
And be a part. Exactly. Kumbaya thing,
Well, you know what? Before you throw the story out, look at the evidence.
Exactly.
Look at it, and
because you know what? I mean, even in a court of law, that's the first thing they would tell you. I think, and I'm not a judge, but I've watched a little Judge Judy, and
Tony.
Yeah, and I know Tony. And my thought would be this. My thought would be, you know what? Here's some evidence. If you're on that jury, you listen, you take it in, you make a decision.
Research. Do some research.
Right or wrong, you make that decision. Good or bad, you make that decision. You know what? Yeah. But any decision that someone might make or wants to make or creates or makes, if if I'm standing there in front of the court and the court says, "Who are you?" and I hand them a packet, they review that packet and they say to themselves, "Oh my gosh, this is," because you know what? Some things you just can't make up.
Do you know that someone's opinion of the evidence does not change who you are?
Correct.
And so it doesn't matter what their decisions are. You are who you are.
Well, I was going to say too, but for folks out there that listen to the podcast, you know, I think they know we have some major artists on here, you know, that are, and we're not like a Jerry Springer podcast, so this is a serious thing.
Thank goodness.
I want to be a Jerry Springer.
But I mean, you know, I just want people to realize the credibility that I would not have you even on here if to me, money, like you say, if you're going to put money on something, then you know what you believe. Faith is hard to figure out.
He would not have had you at the station.
Yeah, but
because that's where his reputation is way out there.
It's like the coming up election. You know, I saw something on the news about the people that bet on it, the odds makers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm thinking, well, if I was going to put money on it, I must believe you because I would put my money. You know, if I had, you know, thousand,
a couple bucks.
Yeah, I'd put it over here on you and being truth, and mainly because I've seen. Stuff I don't know if it's out there yet, but and just talking to these guys.
Well, you know,
lawyers,
when we played the station, you know, two days ago, and then last night, I would hope that everyone in the audience is, you know, in both audience, that what they took home was, you know what, whether they believe or they don't believe. I hope that our music,
the music was great, man.
Touched their heart. I hope our music gave them something to take home and smile about, whether they're a naysayer or a heck yeah sayer.
Yeah, man. I think,
Well, a lot of people we spoke to last night were very excited to have heard you and to have met you.
Wonderful group. Oh my gosh. You know what?
Yeah.
I'll go on record, but we can bleep this out later, you know, that I'm 63 years old and I've gone to everything from the Lawrence Welk Show as a child to Nashville, to recording records, to making songs, to writing songs, to playing in bands and so on and so forth. And last night and night before last, I will have to say was magical because
cool, man.
We had a great time.
Everyone
That
I
means a
saw
lot.
in that audience, everyone I met, everyone I spoke to, and then some were the most kindest, most wonderful people. I've ever been connected.
They are a fabulous group of people, and they appreciate music so much. You know, it took me a couple years to figure out I had to shut up. You know,
Well, you know,
because I didn't grow up. I didn't grow up with any appreciation or understanding of music because of my raising. But Billy taught me so much. I mean, if I was going to listen to anything, it would have been 80s rock and
you
saw
know
them all.
So great what you just said about, you know, being quiet at a time. My moment at this point would be this. You know what? Hey, let the boy sing.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah,
and then
man.
you make the decision of whether you're on board or you're not on board. But even if you're not on board, you're still on heart.
Right. And this, you know, we could, you know, go through questions all night, and they're never going to end. So I'm not trying to convince him. I just want everybody to look at, you know, as you get your website going, go to your website and, which is lettheboysing.co. And I'm sure it just got it set up. I mean, this is kind of like the breaking kind of news thing because you just got your website set up. I mean, so
It
you
is
guys
the
are just
website, the Facebook,
your team you're talking about.
There's other things on there, spot us something and Insta something body or whatever those are. So Sarah proposed the question to me of the night that supposedly Elvis met my mother and was with my mother.
Yeah. No, it's a serious question. Everyone wants to know that
it's a fabulous question. So my moment and attitude and answer would be this. First of all, I wasn't there just yet, but shortly after, I kind of came along. So in between that time, I will have to say this, because I just want to go on record. I believe that not only is Elvis Presley the greatest entertainer that has ever hit our world.
I agree.
Not only is he one of the most spectacular performers ever in our world.
He captured the world.
Yes.
He captured them.
And from the things that I've heard from his moments of, oh my gosh, I passed by someone and bought them a car, or I've met someone that needed a home. Mm-hmm. I would like to go on record. And my attorney buddies are going to go, oh, you know what that happens when you say you're going on record. Well, I will confirm this moment. You know what? Whether he did something correct or wrong, I believe his heart was in the proper place.
Yes, that's why everyone loved him, because he was genuine.
Exactly.
He was a giving heart.
And that's what I hope, good or bad, indifferent, believable or not, that's what I hope to accomplish.
I believe that waitress at Texas Roadhouse thought that today.
Maybe so.
Now, just to update what's happened in the last, I don't know, in the last couple of months since you were here before, to follow up on the first episode is what, like I remember you said you guys were getting a committee together. I mean, can you kind of update us on what?
Well, we now have a board of directors. They're the most wonderful people in my mind, most wonderful people ever that I've been connected with. Although I've been connected with a lot of wonderful people, but so we have a board of directors.
Danger's on the committee. Remember,
we're talking with a wonderful, wonderful actor producer named Silk Cozart. We have a brand new buddy that we met when we first came here to Knoxville. Back then in August, Dr. Danger, who's been on.
Gosh, what a nice man he is!
Oh my gosh, he's been on America's Got Talent like 4 or 5 times.
He was so nice.
Stuntman, right?
Well, I'm thinking to myself, well, first of all, he blows himself up and catches on fire, so that's kind of scary.
But that's why he has short hair.
Yeah, so we don't let him drive the bus or anything, just in case. And
he was filming your show. He was here to film your shows at the station
for Netflix.
Yeah,
We've got a little trailer thing, I think they call that, that's being presented as we speak.
Oh, you're being credited
to Netflix.
Yeah, okay.
For a little drama documentation.
Yeah.
Our movie is right out there. It's coming in 2025.
As far as the movies, I think we were talking that Warner Brothers may distribute it or produce it. Now you're thinking it may.
Well, the hope was that Warner Brothers would distribute it, but now we're Silk with his wonderful people and who surrounds him and his casts and so on and so forth. We're looking at Lionsgate.
Lionsgate, yeah. Okay.
And you know what? My response there would be, I would be so appalled, but yet so entwined if they would accept what we're throwing out there and what we're talking about, what we're showing. And I think they're going to, because bottom line is we have a story. Our story is and came from the day I was born until now. Maybe my story's controversial, but my story's honest.
Yeah.
And I think America needs a story, a storyline, and a presentation and a movie and a moment that today says that's honest.
Yeah. And that's something that you can't really get across of a podcast. Of course, we know you guys and we've hung out with you and we
actually have had a really great opportunity to spend some time with you.
Judged
when
your
we did our first
personality,
podcast, we did not know you.
with you. Yeah.
And now we've had an opportunity to actually spend some time with you and get to know
and
you.
you guys have been so fabulous. I mean, we've been in your home. You've allowed us in your home.
But we got an opportunity to really hear. I have never heard so many stories in my whole dang life.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing.
Oh my
is,
gosh, you know everybody everywhere.
Yeah. And here's something I just want to say is that we have a lot of people in our home, but I mean, because of the venue and different things and friends in Nashville and music business, I feel like that that we can judge people pretty quick, and Sarah especially, man, she'll lock you in the band cave and not let you out. But so anyway, that kind of something that nobody else can do. So, but I'm just saying it when I think as people see more and more, they'll understand. Even though, but the bottom line is we don't care what the naysayers, people's just, there's nothing wrong with that. If everybody has their own level of belief,
Exactly.
But
you know what? And at the end of the day, I hope everybody takes home something, and that would be this: if we've touched you emotionally, if we've touched your heart, if we said something or sung something that has made your life better,
oh yeah, like the show last night, that was.
Then we've done our job.
You did some good stuff that I could tell. You brought out something in the audience there. Well, hey, man, we're going to wrap this thing up, and I feel like that we may have to do a part 3 because you're kind of on a journey here, and I don't know how, everything's coming together. I'm excited for you because you have everybody doesn't have a legal team like you have.
Exactly.
Which keep you out of trouble. I'm needing one myself.
Should we announce Boomer and White? Well, we can edit that out if we're not supposed to. Yeah.
He's not listening.
I'm listening.
I hope Keith's listening.
You're gonna have to
I
put
hope Keith's listening, and I hope I get to go hang out with him again. But anyway, yeah.
Well, I was going to say,
Listen, it has been a joy to get to spend time with you and your legal people.
Thank you.
yeah.
No, danger. Sorry, I'm out to lunch on a lot of things. It's when it comes to TV and whatever. When I asked him, I'm like, why do they call you Danger? He's like, well, it's Dr. Danger. And I'm like, okay, why do they call you that? And he started showing me pictures, which was terrifying.
This has not only been an amazing journey, it's been an amazing connection. Yeah. Because from Danger to Rich to Rick to Tony.
Yeah. Well, we've made lifelong friends, I think.
That's a great thing, man.
We have enjoyed you.
It's been amazing.
Yeah.
If it was over with today, guess what? I've had a damn good time, if I can say that.
Well, I'm glad to see you're getting back, on the stage, and I know you're already doing stuff. I don't mean, but I mean at the station. Man, you had a great show, so I'm happy for you, and we'll kind of hopefully come back. I know we're going to get even more questions. Which I should have printed them out, but I just remembered a few of them off the top of my head because we're only going to do a little 30-minute here to update. But, man, I appreciate both you guys being with us. And
thank you, guys.
And playing at our venue, the station, has been, man, that was quite a treat, man. It was beautiful weather here in East Tennessee on October fall night. Man,
Can I throw
Tennessee beat Alabama.
Billy, can I interject for 1 second and throw my motto out there?
Yeah.
And I think my daddy would have said this.
Oh.
Be safe. Be blessed.
Yeah, man.
Because you blessed me.
Thank you, man.
We've
really enjoyed getting to know you guys.
Yeah, it's a real treat for us. Trust me, man. We've had a lot of buds, friends in the music business, but this has been a great.
No, this has been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Hey, we're going to get out of here because we're all getting hangry.
Thank you guys so much. We appreciate it. We had a great time and can't wait to come back.
Oh yeah, man. This has been quite a crazy ride here. I'm just thankful that we get to know you guys and follow you on this venture. But anyway, big thanks to John Smith Presley and his bandmate, attorney, friend Tony Petty, and my best half, Sarah.
Thank you guys. We love you. Thank you so much.
Happy trails, and we'll see you guys next time.